Former Deputy Assistant Attorney General Tom Dupree. Now, Tom, this was a moment for the president to say and to stand strong on this issue. Look, enough's enough. Whatever happened, happened, but it better not happen again. And then this offer on the part of Vladimir Putin to say, you know, you can come talk to these guys. This would be like me offering dietary advice to people and my volunteering. I'll help you with the salad. You don't want to go there, Tom. And I'm just saying, like, it's crazy. The whole thing is crazy, and I don't think it makes this president look good. What do you think?
Neil, what I was hoping to see today and what we didn't see was a forceful condemnation of Russia's interference in the 2016 election.
There was none of that. There wasn't even a hint of that. Zilch.
I know. That's what I wanted to see. I mean, look, it's all well and good for the president to talk about, you know, the Strzok and the server and Hillary Clinton and all of that, but this wasn't the time and the place. This was the time and the place for the president to look Putin squarely in the eye and said, you will be punished for what you did in 2016 and don't ever think about doing that again.
But he didn't. And that's what made it disgusting. That's what made his performance disgusting. I'm sorry, it's just the only way I feel. It's not a right or left thing to me. It's just wrong. A U.S. president on foreign soil talking to our biggest enemy or adversary or competitor, I don't know how we define them these days, is essentially letting the guy get away with this and not even, you know, offering a mild criticism. That sets us back a lot.
I had very similar reaction, Neil. I mean, my sense is that many people in this country voted for Donald Trump because they wanted America to project strength and toughness overseas. And this was the ideal opportunity for him to take that approach with Putin on the world's biggest stage. And so I was disappointed that he didn't see it in that light and that he made comments again. I'm not saying that they're fairly placed or misplaced, but they just weren't the right place to make that line of attack. He should have confronted Putin directly. That's what I wanted to see.
Well, you know, and I can well understand his frustration with this whole thing because, you know, what really sticks in his craw is this notion that he's not a legitimate president, that he lost the popular vote, and he won the electoral vote by nefarious means, and that's what a lot of Democrats and his critics seem to get at. There's no proof of that, no indication of that, not a scintilla of evidence to even hint of that. So separate that aside, say he won fairly and squarely, which I think most of his critics would agree. And then go back into the notion that the Russians were able to crudely, effectively, however you want to describe it, interfere in our election process and stand poised to do so yet again. And if you are the leader of America and you are talking to the leader of the country that did that, it is a golden opportunity for you to say, not again. Not again. I don't know what Russian is for, not on my watch, Sparky, but or Sparkeski, but it didn't happen. It's surreal.
It is, and it also would have been good to see the president really take on Putin when Putin was talking about this treaty and the possibility of exchanging information with the military officers who did this. That's all nonsense. We know Putin is not going to make any of these people available.
Tom? Explain to me how that would go. Now, obviously, we wouldn't have these guys extradited over here. So what is he offering? That we could come over there to talk to them? Or I didn't understand that.
That's what I think he was offering, Neil. I think what Putin was saying is that
I'm not Perry Mason, but that's beyond idiotic.
It's nonsense. Look, the idea that we would send our intelligence officers over there to question these people, and keep in mind, Putin also viewed this as reciprocal. So he wanted the ability to question U.S. agents, which, again, is completely ridiculous. So I think what Putin was offering was total nonsense, and I would love to have seen the president just call him out on that.
But he didn't. And I'm wondering now what this means to the investigation going forward, and maybe it doesn't. It's just, you know, more waves here and we've had plenty of waves. But what do you think?
My sense is it's not going to have a direct impact on the investigation. Look, I don't think Bob Mueller is operating under any illusions that Russia was going to extradite its military intelligence officials to the United States so that they can stand trial.
But if you're Bob Mueller and you're still looking maybe to get a chat with the president, is that less or more likely now? I don't think it's ever going to happen, but what do you think?
You know, I've actually, Neil, I've always been at the camp that is going to happen at some point. I think, yeah, I do. I do think it is going to happen, but under very limited conditions. In other words, I don't think the president is going to give him a huge amount of time. I think that they are going to very carefully cabin the topics that will be discussed in that sit-down. But my sense is that's in President Trump's strong interest to have some sort of interaction with Mueller just to get this behind us so that we can move on. Because if you don't sit down with Mueller, you're inviting a subpoena, you're inviting another year of litigation in the federal courts, when I think what all of us want is for Mueller to wrap this up so the country can move on.